What's this next one? The new guys?
Yeah, we're going to talk about some stuff, some new Democrats, and oh, I forgot to put the normal gays in there.
Oh, fuck
Well,
normal gays. They should burn in hell.
What are the normal gays?
Normal gays are gay people who support Trump, pretty much. And
Oh,
Trump's ideology on trans and anyone outside L and G. Anyone outside of LG is wrong, is pretty much
okay,
normal gays.
that's what's
okay.
weird about this video, because which makes me think that it's, you know, a paid stunt. I'm going to play it real quick. Maybe we'll just use this separately for something. Just a quick clip.
We are normal gays.
We are absolutely embarrassed by the insanity of queer ideology and are announcing our departure.
If you want to keep chugging along with the people who make everything about race, believe in thousands of genders, and transition children, be our guest.
If you stand for the separation between crazy and common sense, then post a picture of an upside down rainbow on your feed and hashtag Alliance Day. Today, July 5th.
Just one day to show that American values are universal, family is important, and you no longer agree with the ideology of woke activism.
We are taking a stand by reposting, resharing, and refocusing our energy on us.
Alliance Day is a day for the normal gays and our allies to come together, but of course you could be a normal bi, you could be a normal straight, you could be a normal T. You guys know what we mean. Share the shit out of this video because, girl, we already know.
There are more of us than there are of them.
We already know. We already know because we see your DMs and your comments. Make it known. We're here for it.
Normal gay is turning your back on your brothers and sisters who you claim to be a community with.
That, you heard her say like normal T's, right? Like she wouldn't say trans, but she said normal T's. What the fuck does that mean then? Does it
They
not
have
mean trans?
so much inner hate that they will accept this narrative to make themselves feel better about being slightly less gay than everybody else.
Does it make them feel like they fit in better?
It makes them feel like they fit in better with the MAGA crowd or the
Like
Republicans.
straights? Their mom.
Like,
Dude, I
mom flash our gayness in your face, so we're cool with you guys. Not one
uh,
Republican would ever put that gay flag underneath an American flag. Ever.
Do they all take their beards to dinner at their mom's house? Is that like part of the?
I have no idea.
I'm telling you that Republicans have made it such a big part of their identity to be anti.
Yeah.
Like the left isn't even like pushing it anymore. They're just like, let us be. Like that's the whole movement from the left is just please just let us exist.
Yeah,
And the fucking right just hammers it to fucking death, bro. Like this whole video right here just proves that they just hammer it to fucking death.
Mhm.
yeah. I I don't know. My theory is that they all got paid. I really do. Like I just feel like these are like MAGA pays influencers to say these things. They get caught doing it all the time. I just feel like this is more of the same. They're just trying to make people believe that there is this large group of so-called quote unquote normal gays out there that support Trump and don't support. I don't know what the tease thing still bothers me. So what the hell is what are you saying even? What are you even saying other than nothing? Other
Right.
than you're a hateful piece of shit. I really
Pretty
just don't
much.
understand what exactly your point is.
I'm sure their idea of a normal transgender person is them withholding getting surgeries and living in that pain that they want them to. That's my idea of what they would think a normal T would be.
Oh, weird.
Is to burden that sacrifice. That's what I got from her saying that.
I mean, no, I'm just looking for an explanation. I guess that works. I just it's there's no good one.
No.
Let me since we're on this weird path, let me pull up this other video real quick. So this is a pastor who is not MAGA. He
I like
talks
this guy.
about some other things.
What would Jesus do about a tax system that benefits the rich over the poor? What would Jesus do about a healthcare system that forces the sick to start GoFundMe pages to afford life-saving surgeries? What would Jesus do about an education system that ties a child's school funding to their community's property wealth? What would Jesus do about a justice system that incarcerates more people than any other country on the face of the earth? And what would Jesus do about an economic system that prioritizes profits over the health of our planet? Would he stay in his room and pray? Or would he walk into the seat of power and flip over the tables of injustice? We Christians are called to do more than charity. We are called to challenge the systems that make charity necessary.
I like that. I like that message. I don't really care for Christianity in any way personally.
No, see him do something first then. You go first, and then maybe your community will follow you.
Right.
What are you doing, sir?
Well, that, I guess, is pretty good.
Yeah. The Christians are on knock. That's all. They sit on their pedestals.
But I'd like to just also just remind people, you know, a little bit of wisdom. This is one of my favorite things.
Churches took half the money that they was making and gave it back to the community, we'd be all right. And they take half the buildings that they used to praise God and gave it to mother who need God, we'd be all right. We'd be all right. Have you seen some of these goddamn churches lately? It's ones that take up the whole block in New York. It's homeless people out here. Why ain't God letting them stay there? Why these niggas got gold ceilings? Why God need gold ceilings to talk to me? Why do God need colored windows to talk to me? Why God can't come where I'm at, where he sent me? If God wanted to talk to me in a pretty spot like that, why the hell he sent me here then?
Yeah.
That's true.
For those who don't know, that was Tupac. I don't know who wouldn't know, but that's what that is. The idea though, like that was years ago. I couldn't imagine like what he'd have to have said about Joel Osteen not opening his churches during Katrina, or I mean, forever. that was like such a turnoff. But yeah, so
I wonder where it must have been like us when we first got here saying that we needed elaborate churches. Because that's a very pagan thing to do, is worship idols like that.
yeah, I don't know where.
Like in a place of ceremony. Like the Greeks loved it. That was the Greeks.
Yeah, ancient Greece was big on those things. I don't know. I think it's because they did just absorb most pagan things, all the pagan holidays. You know, I really don't know when it started getting to be so gold and silver.
I'm pretty sure Jesus preached on hills and in the streets, and he went to the temple sometimes, but he did most of his preaching out in the world.
Pretty occasionally, usually just to yell at people, it seems like. Usually just to get in a fight and then leave, turn some tables and walk out. That's.
I remember that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want to transition this into what we're about to talk about. Always the Democrats feel they have to move to the center, this fucking amorphous blob of norms and regulations and blase skip neolib fucking economics and neocon foreign policy, and that's where the base lives. In reality, I think personally that you can take progressive values and push them out there to people if you present them the right way, kind of like this preacher was doing there. You can build a coalition. The Christian, there's nothing Christian necessarily about neoliberalism. There's nothing Christian necessarily about neocons. Like certainly the evangelicals who are waiting for the rapture are never going to give it up on Israel, the war in the Middle East. They're always going to want that, and you're never going to get them anyway. But there are a good group of people out there who legitimately believe in the things that the Bible teaches. And I think those people are very gettable by simply just being honest about what progressive policies are. And I know that, you know, there's a large group of Jewish voters who support Zohran Mandami because they believe that he's sincere and he has their best interest at heart. I just don't think this is as hard as they want to make it. I believe that they are protecting what they have, and I believe they're protecting their establishment, which is most people believe and say. But this is not the time or the place for it. Complacency and the status quo are just not the time. This is not the time for it. And I'm sure you guys agree with that, right?
Oh, I do.
Right. So David Hogg was the young man who had survived a school shooting in Florida. He was elected to be the vice chair of the Democratic National Convention, but then got fired because his PAC that he started is to primary impotent Democrats, let's say. Not necessarily old ones, just ones that ain't doing no good. Here's him in his own words.
So just yesterday, my organization, Leaders We Deserve, announced a $20 million initiative to help elect young Democrats to state legislatures and Congress. Part of this plan, not all of it, but part of this plan includes challenging sitting Democratic members of the House of Representatives who we feel are not doing an effective enough job right now to meet the moment to stand up against Donald Trump. Specifically, people that are in safe Democratic seats that do not risk us losing the House. I got a lot of flack for this. There's a lot of people who think that I'm dividing the party. And I understand why they think that, but I would argue we're building the party. Our approval of the party right now is at 27% of the base. Last election, we lost margins with every single demographic except senior citizens and the highly educated. If we do not dramatically change things right now and bring in a new generation and show how there are diversity not only in ideology, but in strategies of how we get back to winning, I don't think that we're going to have much of a future in our party, in particular because we are losing our young people at such a rapid rate. The other thing that people had a lot of issues with was they were saying, well, let's not waste money on primaries. Here's the reality. Our base is pissed off. People do not believe that Democrats are fighting nearly hard enough for them. We need to show them that we are fighting hard for them, and that if somebody is not fighting hard enough for them, that there is a young person willing to replace them. Because look, these elections don't just come down to fundraising. Last election cycle, we raised over $2 billion to support Vice President Kamala Harris, and we still lost. Our party has become extremely good at two things in particular: raising money and enriching consultants that should not be nearly as wealthy as they are. That is not what's going to get us out of the situation. It will keep the same people in power, but I'm not here to do that. I'm here to get back to winning. And there's many people who want to get back to winning, most of them, but they want to keep the same people in power, and those two things are not possible.
I just want to say I've said that same shit since day one. That I did not. Look back at the footage. I said we need young people. They're not showing that they're fighting enough for us. And I'm so glad someone is doing this. Is awesome. It's really, really cool.
I agree. I'm
That's
100%
really cool.
into it. Brad, you taking us on a walk?
Sorry, I had to.
No, that's cool.
As you know, I'm in the garage.
Yeah.
And the mosquitoes be fucking biting me, man.
Oh yeah. Can't throw up enough smoke screen. What'd you think of the message, though?
I think that's. I mean, as you know, I think we're not progressive enough.
Yep.
Democrats aren't progressive enough, and get these fossils out of the fucking way.
Mm-hmm. Get him out. I love his term, building the party, because it is building the party.
Now, I believe that was made before Zohran was elected as well. And I think that the election of Zohran Mamdani, personally, for me, and the excitement that it shows, not just in New York, but across the country, with young people, base, if that doesn't tell you everything that you need to know, you're an idiot. And we got a lot of idiots.
We do have a lot of idiots.
Because most of the Democratic Party is still not endorsing. You guys believe that? Like, that's insane. You finally have everything. God hands you everything that you asked for. And you're like, no, not like that.
But as you know, the slander's out of control.
Oh, my God.
And these old guards for the Democrats aren't willing to just give it up. You know what I mean? They think that they can fucking make a difference or something.
No.
Yes,
in fact, the bots have been caught spreading misinformation about candidates like the ones we're about to highlight already. So please, if you're listening to this, watch out for this stuff. Please keep supporting these people. These are some of the purest candidates we have. They are not taking big money, stuff and doing with it. We're going to talk about it. I like this video here, though, talking about Zohran.
Who you think we're going to choose? The people who are actively lying and smearing this nigga? and just allowing carte blanche to Islamophobia and racism. Chuck Schumer ended up defending him against some of the racist attacks. So did Kathy Hochul and everything. And I'm like, y'all first line of attack was like, oh no, this nigga's a communist, he's a Muslim, he's brown. And then when you realize that we don't fuck with that, obviously, or else we wouldn't have elected Zohran in the first place.
Right.
You're like, oh, my bad.
You don't have any type of messaging to pull in the younger audience, and here you are bastardizing the one person that the young audience resonates with.
The 14th Amendment is currently under attack. They're threatening to come get anybody who they deem as anti-American. They were saying that he was eating with his hands. He's from the third world. He should be deported.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk said that.
4th of July. We're about to have a national eating hot dog contest in a few minutes. I'm about to watch a bunch of niggas
Stuffing glizzy
down their throat. And that's civilized. Lo and behold, the nigga eat rice with his hands.
God forbid a nigga eat rice with his hands.
Charlie Kirk is out here talking about he's uncivilized. Charlie Kirk with the smile he has on him. He's talking about
Mr.
somebody.
Gums himself. That smile is uncivilized, my nigga.
I stumbled on my new favorite podcast, by the way.
They're funny.
Yeah, they're real funny. I couldn't agree more with every word, except it seems like I believe that it seems like they live in New York and got to vote for Zohran.
Yeah. But you see the thirst these young people have to have someone fight, and like, it's crazy.
Yeah, we are passionate. We want this change, and listen, like from like mine and Brad's generation, elder millennial, right? We've been stuck with Gen Z and fucking boomers as allies for our entire lives. So we have gotten milquetoast bullshit our entire lives. So have you, Jake. Even as a younger millennial, like you experienced it. You experienced the Bernie, Hillary thing. You know, you got that one. You got that taste. Even Obama, like we were hoping for a super progressive president, and we got, you know, a progressively, you know, center president. You know, we got a lot of bank bailouts and not a lot of even the ACA was like, oh, this is the best we can do, but like, was it?
Still wasn't great. Sure, still wasn't great. It wasn't cutting 17 million Americans' health insurance ban,
No,
but it wasn't great.
It was a lot better than what we had, but that was a really low bar to clear.
The bar is in the basement.
Yeah, real bad. So yeah, the Zohran thing is great. We said that should we ever get the opportunity, and I'm going to reiterate it here today, we ever get the opportunity to interview candidates who are running for office, one of the first questions that we will ask will be, should billionaires exist? And if they stumble or hesitate to answer this question the right way, they're done.
They're done. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for stopping. Good. Anyway, so Zohran, he answered it correctly one time. Do you think he stuttered? Here's NPR asking.
You didn't believe that billionaires had the right to exist. Redistribution of wealth where you take money from these billionaires and give them to Americans who make less.
I was speaking about the stark nature of income inequality in this city and in this country. And ultimately, I think the better question is whether working people have the right to exist. Because what we've seen in this city is that more and more working people are being pushed out. And the vision that I'm speaking about, it's a vision that I want everyone to enjoy and benefit from, including billionaires. And I say this often, both in meetings and also in conversations, that though my taxes that I'm proposing are ones that would be on the top 1% of New Yorkers, on the most profitable corporations, it's not taxes that will detract from their life. It's in fact taxes that will benefit everyone across the city, including those who are being taxed. And we need a better quality of life for all New Yorkers. And ultimately, this is not an interest in taxation in and of itself. It's an interest in finding revenue to pay for something that will transform life in this city.
So you weren't proposing that your policies would ultimately lead to a New York with no billionaires?
No, that's not what I was proposing.
That man is just a masterful politician. Masterful.
He is.
Just so smooth.
With a smile.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah. He's like one of the good Kennedys. Without the baggage.
Without the mistresses.
Without the mistresses, man. Get cat again?
He is hope for the youth. That is what Zohran is.
Yeah. He is the hope, and he's not alone. Um, I've got a couple other ones here that we're gonna show you. I fucking forgot Kat again. Damn. That's right. We will get her on the show. Get her stuff on the show as well. But first, let's start with Deja. Deja Fox in Arizona. She would be just 26 now. This is her little 2-minute self introduction.
Deja Fox, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement. My name is Deja Fox, and I'm running to represent us here in Congressional District 7. I'm looking forward to sharing just a little bit more about my story because I know that it is our story. I was raised by a single mom right here in Tucson. We relied on Section 8 to keep a roof over our head, SNAP benefits or food stamps just to put food and dinner on the table, and Medicaid so we could go to the doctors when we needed to. And when I was a teenager, things were rough. I worked at a gas station long nights, I was homeless, and I turned to Planned Parenthood for my care. It's the stories so many of us share, knowing that the people in DC have never lived the policies that they put in place. When I was a teenager, I needed a fighter, so I became one. I organized for better sex education here in Southern Arizona's largest school district and won. I went toe-to-toe with Republicans who attempted to defund Planned Parenthood centers where I got care when I had no money, no parents, and no insurance. I wasn't scared then, and I'm not scared now. When Washington isn't listening, when Republicans believe that they are above consequences and Democrats are all too comfortable, we have to ask the question, who are our electeds accountable to? And I'm not here because I have a legacy last name or corporate donors or billionaires backing me. None of that put me here. It was the 14,000 people that have contributed to our campaign, and I know their stories. They drive DoorDash after work to pitch in 20 bucks. They cash in their change jar when they're hardly making rent. These are people that know that gas is getting more expensive, and so is childcare and rent and groceries. They're people who send us $15 in a note saying, I'm putting 1 hour of my hard work behind your campaign. They are my mandate. You are why I am on this stage, and I promise you, I will be your fighter.
Ah, damn.
Just pick her, bro.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's so good. Like, so fucking good. And there's a lot of like misinformation going around about her too. Like a lot of people are like, on TikTok, there's the influence like, well, I don't understand. It's a progressive versus a progressive in the primary, blah blah blah. Yeah, yeah. It's a establishment progressive versus a progressive who, in the end of that video, was the specific thing that makes her so much different, other than everything else about her story, her passion, her age. But the part before, she just doesn't take the fucking PAC money.
Right.
Hello?
And that's why they will bully the fuck out of her. And you'll hear all the misinformation because she's not taking their money.
Yep. And one of the other things they said about her is that she doesn't have a policy plan. I went to her TikTok, and you can too, or you can go to ours because it's also reposted there as well as on our Instagram. She has a 20-page policy platform covering everything in detail. It is phenomenal. It is progressive. It is everything that we need to talk about on this show. So check that out. Check her out. Donate if you can. Prop her up out there. She's catching up in that race, just like Zohran was catching up in New York. All right.
And go read policies no matter what. If you're worried about a candidate, go do your own research instead of listening to 13 different opinions online.
Yep.
And you'll find out a lot more by just reading their own policies by yourself.
Every candidate has a website, and if they don't, that's all you need to know about that candidate.
Yeah.
All right. His name, I hesitate to butcher. So
go ahead.
Sakat, I believe is how you say this first name. His last name, Chakrabarti.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Anyway, what you need to know about him is that he is in San Francisco and he is challenging Nancy Pelosi for her seat. So again, primary difference: Nancy Pelosi is the chief fundraiser throughout the era of Citizens United. She is floated the Democrats for better or for worse with the money, versus a guy who used to work for Bernie Sanders.
Define that transformative economic agenda in 1 or 2 points, if you could.
Yeah, well, I'll say why first, because I think that's an important part. I think for decades, both parties have been ignoring the biggest problems most people are facing. And what I mean by that is for most Americans, their wages have been stagnating or barely creeping up, while the big things you use to make a life, you buy a house, childcare to raise a family, get a good education, go to a doctor, those things have been skyrocketing. And so people just feel stuck, and people look at DC, and DC is completely stuck. DC is not tackling these big problems. So the result is people have been voting for change for over and over again. I think that was Obama in 2008. I think that was Trump in 2016, Trump again just now. People are open to the kind of change, but they just know that the business as usual is not cutting it. So what should it be? I think part of it is, a better social safety net, the kind of stuff Bernie and AOC talk about, guarantee universal health care, things like that. But beyond that, I think what we really need to be talking about is how do you do a massive investment into high-wage industries, into communities and cities all across the town to build millions of homes, to build the industries we need to build the infrastructure we need to build, to do the kind of massive economic transformation that FDR did when he built the middle class. It wasn't just a little iterative step. Through the FDR and the New Deal movement was able to beat back the right-wing movement of that time by showing that liberal democracy could actually deliver and deliver in a huge way. It changed people's lives for decades. It built the industrial base of this country for decades, and it kept the far right from taking power again for decades as a result of that.
Beautiful. Just another one, man. Just another one. Now his platform ranges a little bit more toward the abundance side, which is a little bit less progressive version of Democrats, a little bit less regulation. But in a place like San Francisco, he might be the right candidate because San Francisco has a lot of urgent needs. That maybe slashing a bit of the red tape wouldn't be the worst thing on the planet. But mainly the thing is like he's worked for Bernie, he's worked for AOC, he's super big on livable wages, and he's not taking back money. So, I mean, again, I just think that's the most important part.
Yeah, that is the most important part. Get money out of politics. Get money out of politics.
Yeah. One of his other main talking points is the no congressional stock trading. Like, he is big for that one. I know you'll like that, Brad.
Yep. You know it. There's no reason that it should be allowed to do that shit.
Nope. All right. I have one last video to share with you guys. And this is about something else. So we know that, Republicans gerrymander the hell out of their districts, and Democrats tend to try to play fair, which is this.
The Republicans have been saying that they want to gerrymander Democrats out of their seats this year. So for the last few weeks, I've been saying that Democrats need to gerrymander Republicans out of their seats. So Trump and everyone change the lines in my district. It's time to fight fire with fire. I call it Operation Get Back. Well, it looks like somebody's been listening. Looks like Gavin Newsom is saying that they will gerrymander Republicans out of their seats in California should they go out with this ridiculous redistricting scam. Now, why is this important? I know you don't like gerrymandering, and neither do I. If I had it my way, it would be just like Canada, where they have an independent redistricting committee for all across the country. But here's the deal. Right now, Democratic states play by a different set of rules than Republican states. We have several blue states with these independent redistricting committees where Republicans are given seats out of fairness. But Republican states don't follow that playbook. You think Ron DeSantis gives us seats? You think that the North Carolina legislature gives us seats? Absolutely not. So I say that it's time to fight fire with fire. Our states have the population advantage. And when we gerrymander enough Republicans, it's going to be pretty much impossible for them to win the House again. Because the only thing Republicans understand is losing power. Once that happens, you bring them to the table and you force them into federal legislation to ban partisan gerrymandering in every single state across the country. Look, we don't have to be helpless while Republicans come after. We can fight back and we can win, and Gavin Newsom has shown that he's willing to do that. This is our roadmap to take back our country.
Oh, it's fantastic. You guys remember that the redistricting committee was on our ballot in Ohio last fall and just failed miserably. And it was just a failure of a campaign.
It was so bad.
Like nobody knew what the hell they were talking about. There was
Nope.
confusing language, and and they just didn't do a good job of like doing it. Like I remember Jake when we were volunteering, like the candidates came in and they gave these speeches, and then like they just be like, "I voted on issue one," and it's like, well, what the fuck's issue one? Like you want to explain it? Like, you want to talk about it? You want to fucking talk about how important it is? No, not one. And I'm not blaming them entirely, but like that is kind of like your job, you know what I mean? Like you got to go out and talk about these things. We got weed and we got abortion. We could have gotten the redistricting thing too if they had tied it all together and made it seem important. Like I don't even think people knew whose side it was on.
Nope.
Yeah.
People didn't know how to vote.
No, it was super confusing. So that was a missed opportunity, but that I love because they're 1,000% right. Like you get two senators for the state of Wyoming. More people use the bus in Manhattan in a day than live in the state of Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
So like the idea that like this is somehow equal representation is absurd. The Senate exists to keep that representation balance. It's really not balanced. But at least in the House of Representatives, like there should be a lot more. All of the money comes from the populous areas, and therefore the power of the purse, if it is, it should be controlled by people from those areas. Like the people who produce the most tax revenue should have more say. If you know, places like fucking Youngstown, Ohio, do not produce a lot of federal tax revenue. They take a lot of federal tax money, um, and they fuck off with it too. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's a great way to fight back, and I'm glad to see it, and I'm glad to hear that they're doing it. You know.
Gotta try something.
Yep. What do you guys? Does that guys give you guys a little bit of hope?
Yeah.
I think that progress is the only way to win this.
Yeah. I feel like if we can get a couple of these candidates across the finish line, we can continue to send the message, and not let Zoran be a one-off.
I agree.
As long as Zoran is not a one-off, we can change the conversation. We have to get at least one or two of these people across the finish line. And for whatever it's worth, I feel like here on the Derealization Nation Media Network, that is going to be something that we are going to concentrate on, try to concentrate on at least once a week, every week. I want to get these guys across the line. I'm gonna keep on reposting everything that they post, and I'll be looking for more candidates who share those same values too. So if you know anybody, drop them in the comments. Um, but that's it for us. Please do like and subscribe. Check us out on YouTube, Substack, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Until next time, I'm John.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Bram.
And that's what's left.
Almost all your taxes go to military installations on foreign bases.